Hey everyone, Temporal here, and today we are reviewing a gold, mostly
Everyone
off-tank
sign their
player.
life
Today it
insurance
looks like we are
policies?
looking at Rein and Sigma. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you're looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, all that good stuff.
Yes,
So, you're here. I can live with you being here. It baits your team a little bit into playing closer than I want them to, which is a problem if there's a Widow. Hint, there's a Widow. You can do this because you have 500 HP, and the Fire Strike is usually safe enough. They can't, and this is wrong. This is wrong. The only reason to be here was so that you could creep around last second and get a Fire Strike on this opening door. That was the reason to be here. Otherwise, you don't want to be here. You want to start back here, and then potentially advance, either to hold this, or maybe in the rare situation to hold this. Or you can just hold this. Like, you're generally going to end up holding this. It's going to be rare that you advance here. This isn't a real thing. This isn't the choke for Reinhardt. It's not. I know you're not usually the Rein player, but don't do this. You can use that for the Fire Strike, yeah. Like, if they're going to give you the Sigma barrier there, might as well. Back. Fine. Yeah, I know you have the Sim, I don't care. Why not here? Because if you play your Reinhardt here, the spawn is simply too powerful, and if you play your Reinhardt here, where does your backline play? Well, if your backline wants to support you, they play around statue if you play your Reinhardt here. And they can't do that if there's a Widow here. So you either play here and don't get supported, or your team supports you and gets widowed. You can't push forward to have your team control statue, to have you control statue, to have you control this, until you've confirmed that they don't have anyone playing out of this spawn here. They don't have someone who just gets to do this. This is, the most aggressive spawn in the game, effectively. So we have to respect that this is such an aggressive spawn that gives them so much map control from right here, and not push forward until we've determined, hey, they don't have someone there, or they don't have a Widow at all, because a Widow here is going to do the same thing in terms of compromising your backline. Oh, so that's why Rein always goes wrong for me on this map? Do you mean he always goes here, or he always goes here? Oh, or do you mean when you play him? Yeah, your Sigma, you know this. You and your Sigma are on the same sight line, so something is wrong. You see this? Something is wrong. Why isn't your Sigma just playing over here for you? Oh, because your team can't actually support you with statue right now because there's a Widow there. And you know this because you play Sigma, so your Sigma being with you should scream something's wrong. Why is he here? He's trying. Swing, Fire Strike. Okay. Don't love the purple Fire Strike. Don't love the swing while purple either. Shield up, shield up. Okay, you're done, you're done. I know you've got plenty of health, you've got plenty of resource, but you can't push this far because, again, your team is holding back here because there's a Widow. They can't support you. If your team was holding around statue, they might have been able to follow you up here for this cleanup, but they can't. And they're correct to not be. When you play, okay. Okay. I mean, you could have surprised him, but the problem with this Shatter... The problem with this Shatter is really that they've reworked Shatter. But the problem with this Shatter... Set our rewind to be appropriate because we're going to use this more times in this game. It's now Ash Hanzo. Yeah, that doesn't really make it better. You decide that you're going to push this. This is an unusual move, but so be it. You go like this. This Reinhardt is super low. This Reinhardt, you might not see a shield right now, but this Reinhardt is already going to be trying to shield, not to block your shatter. He's not reaction blocking your shatter. He's reacting to the fact that he's so low health, his shield is going to go up. So, like, you don't want to shatter into a Reinhardt that should already be wanting to bring up his shield. You want to shatter into a Reinhardt that has a desire to be swinging. This isn't that. This was never going to be good. Sigma being on the same angle as Ryan will automatically be solved in Nerf Watch 2. Yeah. Tank synergies are fun, man. I'm sorry to see them go. So here's the thing. You hit that pin. He has the option to counterpin you. Look, your backline can't support you. His backline can see you. This is exactly what you didn't want. You did this last time, and I didn't like it there either. I don't like it here more. I don't like it here even more. His backline can see you. Your backline can't see you. This is the worst place for you to be in this situation. This is part of why we play here. If he aggresses into us, my backline can see him. His backline can't see me. Mercy has better Ryan positioning than you right now. Especially if he swings while purple. And that'll be the end of first. End of first. End of first. Nope, too far. You have no positioning. You're staggering your way back in. You have an ult up, sure, but you have nothing positioning-wise. Even if who's alive, if you press tab, looks like this fight is even, your team has nothing positioning-wise. They're back here, back here, back here. Yes, they'll come back faster on the respawns because of the SimTV, back here. But they've got nothing. You do not want to take this fight yet. You could think about waiting here and then pushing in before they finish it and trying to touch it like 80, 90, 99%, something like that. But you're letting them get 2 ticks. You are for sure letting them get 2 ticks because there's no way you're stopping them from getting 2 ticks. That's not happening. It's not. So you need to let this go a little and then decide, okay, we're going to contest before they cap with 4 and our 5th is close behind type thing. Now, you're going in by yourself. You're pinning rather than using your shield to advance, which is wrong. This is way too long of a pin, and you have a full health shield. Your full health shield might even be able to protect Bob. Let Bob do some work on your way in. You go for this. That he fire strikes is nice, because if he'd counterpinned you, this would have been the exact same situation, where your backline can't see you, his entire backline can see you, and you get melted. But this isn't better, because you just end up against the wall where you have your unwind self-stun animation. This is why we advance with our shield. Our pin is not our advance tool, our shield is. I can't be too predictable, Blah. I can't be too predictable with my sound effects. Okay. They got the res, so if these guys get out alive, you can take a real team fight. Great, real team fight. You don't need to back up anymore. Your team is fine. Your team is totally fine. In fact, your teammate is fluxing. Please stop backing up. You see your teammate fluxing. Please stop backing up. Please stop backing up. Cool. Team's right here. Yeah, your BAP is a little backed off, but he's close. Your team is totally right here. You're good to take this fight. No problem. And I'd rather take this fight than back up to here, because I don't want to have to try to earn this corner back when the cart's all the way back here. I'm not going to let them push the cart from there to here for free. It's just not going to happen. So since that's the case, this is as good a chance as any. I'm not going to get a better opportunity to push. I'll push and get control of this corner. Now. Do it. Hey, Zara. Good block. Don't need to have been that far in the open for this fire strike. You got the Zarya, which is cool, but you don't need to be that far in the open, especially when your shield's broken. You have enough. Why are we back hopping? Okay. Did her coach weapon get you? Was moving to the right a better idea? Yes, moving to the right was preferable. Well, if you mean back here, yes, I wanted him to move to the right. Over here, no. I mean, yeah, I suppose moving to the right, but I really wanted him to push through their opposing Rein, fight their opposing Rein to earn himself back. This is what I wanted him to do. But if you're referring to back here, yes, when he had no shield and fire strike, I'd have preferred he'd been working his way to the right. Been nice knowing you. Okay. Are you gonna fire strike through the Sig Shield? No. You have a Valk going. His barrier's broken. Why are we pulling back? Why are we retreating? I understand if you don't want to push in here. I don't understand why you're giving this up. This I can understand being scared of. This is absolutely mandatory. Take this. You have to take this, which is going to force you here to swing at this Ashe so that she backs out or gets behind the cart, at which point you can take the step back and continue to hold this until your team is up, and then you can keep pushing forward. But you have a Valk going right now, and his barrier's broken. Those are audio cues for you to push. No! No! Oh no! Oh no! Uh-oh, guys. Our Reinhardt's broken. Okay. So obviously I don't like that charge. If you find you're like backing up to try to see more of the battlefield, to get shatters, to get charges off, you're doing it wrong. Reinhardt is a corner-to-corner hero. You go, this is my corner, this is my corner. I'm not going to back up to try to get a good shatter. I'm not going to back up to try to get a good pan. If I back up, it's because we're being overwhelmed. I mean, I'm backing up to a new corner. But I'm not going to back up when we're up in resources. A lot of the skill behind being a main tank is recognizing when your team has a resource lead. That's number of players. That's what ults are available or going. That's cooldowns, including barriers. Barrier health is basically a cooldown, and that's also positioning. And in this how many players thing is also sort of between this how many players and positioning thing is how close to back. Like, can you afford the fight because your respawn will be back sooner than theirs? Or do you want to take the fight now because their respawn will be back, etc.? Like, these are all things that you have to consider, and you're basically running your brain, like, factoring as many of these things as accurately as you can to determine when you need to push and convert from sort of like tank trading, where you're just sort of going forward, swinging at each other twice, backing up, etc., to know this is real, we are pushing, hurrah, we're going to take them down, win, push, etc. That's what playing Reinhardt is, and you're missing cues. Like up here, there was huge cues in your favor that you just didn't take. Okay, back to this. Now you have your lamp going, your purple. Ryan is like the sea lion from Happy Feet 2. He goes forward and never backwards. Backwards is a sign of weakness. Not quite. Not quite. Okay. You could hear that. You could have tried to react to that sleep. You had an audio cue. Okay. One more. Good. And that's a good example, guys. I know I give you guys a rule of thumb. This is a good example. This is important to understand. This was fine. What made this shatter work, it wasn't amazing, but this was fine. Hey, this Reinhardt wants to be swinging. This Zarya wants to be aggressing. These guys want to aggressively round this corner so that their backline can get in here. That's kind of why this works, though, of course, it draws that. And he's only got 169 health. This swing was probably a little dicey. But now, with 200 health, I want him going for this next swing. I do want him going for this swing. And this is just a calculation that you have to do. Of you'll notice, oh, but he doesn't have, he doesn't have armor. Like, isn't he supposed to, rule of thumb, when he has armor, he can swing. When he doesn't, he needs to, get back to new cover or shield to get healed up, etc. That's only a rule of thumb, and this is why it's rule of thumb. You have to judge. This is the same skill of when to start a fight, of when to continue a fight. What is the status of the battle? And the status of this battle is these guys are on their heels backing up, and you can get this last swing in and still live, and that's going to cause this team to either get wiped or scatter, getting that last swing off. Don't play a ton of Rive, but that is great info. Excellent, excellent. The fact that he has a rocket on the front but not on his back is also proof. Okay. I find that by looking at my health while fighting, I end up aiming at the wall or some random object. You have to do it with your peripheral vision. You have to. You just have to do it with your peripheral vision, with very quick glances, etc. Good. Perfect. And now you have health, so you can do whatever you want. Great.
We still need you. Let me get you patched up.
How do we even keep track of enemies while also looking at my stats? But I don't care. Well, which stats do you mean? Do you mean these stats? Because these stats you do have to know. Do you mean your medals, damage done, damage blocked, etc.? Those stats don't matter. Your tab screen isn't for looking at that. Your tab screen is for checking what ults your teammates have and for checking how many people are alive on each side in case you lost track. This isn't amazing. So, this isn't an amazing place to hold. This is a pretty good place to hold, but your team probably isn't going to hold up here anymore. I'm talking before your bat point down. This is an okay place to hold. This doesn't really get you a better hold than this, because the cart's already 2 here. And yes, the cart could technically roll back, and that's cool, etc. But you expose yourself to this, you expose yourself to this, you force your team into this narrow funnel to support you, which we don't really like, and you can't aggressively round the corner on them. If you set up here, if you set up on this corner, you can have a teammate here, you can be here, you can have a teammate here, you can have a teammate back here, you could even have someone hop up here, you can have someone play back here. Like, the concave is so much better from here in terms of its power, and they round the corner into absolute doom if they round the corner on you. So this is just a lot better than what you'd get with this corner hold, because your team is forced into this narrow little thing where it's like, well, I'll play from here, and I'll play from here, and maybe I'll play from here. But then if my Reinhardt has 0, and I mean 0 ability to round this corner, and if they round the corner on us, they just force us out so easily, so quickly. It's not a strong of corner. You could get some site control up here, etc. But this isn't amazing. Like, if you're choosing to hold here, it's because you have something like a McCree with a high noon that you're trying to bait them into following you back and then getting high noon from behind, etc. Please let Overwatch 2 PvE talents feature a flying Ryan by firing his rocket downward so it's shattered from the sky. There you go. Don't do fire strikes on corners when the other Ryan is in your face. When he's not, go for it. But not when he's in your face. Good! Beautiful. And the payload's doing some block work for you, but not enough. So, I can live with this. I can live with this. It's not amazing. It's not, and you should shield here, and you're probably not going to get out, but I can live with what this was. Because even though it's like, hey, you're charging into a dangerous place, I'm looking at this and going, hey, you have enough health. Would we really have preferred to pin him into here, not into here? Absolutely. We liked keeping this payload between us and the other team. But you were pinning him in a place where you sort of had the payload between you and the other team. So I'm good with it, even though it didn't work out. And yeah, you should have shielded that nade and some of the damage here. But hey. I'm still not convinced that your McCree isn't going to just win the fight. Yeah. Why though? Why? Why was that better than swinging your hammer at her? I want to see Temporal make map guides that would be useful for everyone. That's fair. That's fair. Again, I don't really like that corner. I think you know that wasn't right. Like... You're trying to enable your McCree, I get it, but he's so close to the corner, and again, this is one of those things where other than your McCree, who's going to follow up on this? Your team is back here. Who's going to follow up on a bunch of people in this lane? Only your McCree. And not everyone's going to get shattered. Seconded. Okay. I'll put map guides on the list. We can make a series on map guides. Okay. Yep. Reasonable fire strike. You don't need to round this. You don't need to round this at all. You're actually perfectly happy just being like, nope, this is now where I'm playing from. And, you know, bye teammates, bye. You're perfectly happy being this is where I'm playing from. You don't need to push back into their sight line here. You do want to recognize when these are here, these lamps. Swing your heart out. There's something to be said for, no, my shield helps protect the lamp. Yeah, a little bit. But a lot of the time, and in this situation, especially when the lamp is set around the corner relative to them, you see how he tried to do that. Didn't do it perfectly, but tried to do that. Swing your heart out. You have no health anyway. Hey, Semitic. I'll bet that felt a lot better than swinging his hammer at them. Okay. Fair point. She was always going to do that. You should be ready for that. Ready for this sleep. Oh, shield should already be going up because you were predicting this sleep. You knew this sleep were coming. Your finger was already on your right click button. You were holding yourself back from pressing it because you knew this was coming so much, and your finger was so ready to press it. Because this is what Annas do when Reinhardt show up in their face. I did recognizing the lamp. I was hoping to get more health before swinging. I understand. The two of you are going to go for rides. This isn't good. Yikes. Okay, well, you didn't get your damage to him. You probably could have finished him if you just put him into this, etc. Yes, it would have exposed you to danger, but I liked that better than this situation now. This situation now isn't so great for you. Your team was up like 5v3, 6v3. What? 6v3. We did not need to put ourselves in a, oh, well, I better pin him deep situation. Like, no, your team could have won that 6-0 instead of 5-0. Like, that could have been the way that team fight went. Yeah, I know you were trying to get away from the fight. You were just wrong. Hey, Razzie.
30 seconds remaining.
How kind of that, Ryan, to charge you over the health pack, right? Get your corner in time. Are you gonna look for a flank shatter? No. This is not where you play.
Get behind me.
Mm-hmm. Why? You had the shatterest of shatters of all time right here.
Get behind me.
Shatter. 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 Might you get flashed, slept, whatever? Sure. Is that a risk I'm willing to take? Absolutely. This Reinhardt is already swinging. He's going to desperately try to destroy the lamp. You're low health. He desperately wants to eliminate the lamp and you. You're going to get the shatter. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Too late. But the real issue is that you went up here in the first place. The correct answer was to play from here. Not to push up here to be like, well, I just won't let them touch cart. That was never going to happen. Don't give yourself a bad fight to try to stop them from touching the cart when it's so low probability that you can do so. Accept that they're going to touch the cart, but set yourself up with your nice, strong Reinhardt positioning. Or if you prefer over here, so be it. With your strong Reinhardt positioning where you have the corner, they're going to touch the cart. That's fine with you. Touching the cart is not going to cap the point. Them touching the cart, you can contest the cart. You can contest the cart from here. You can swing, you can swing, you can swing. Oh, you round on me? Bam, I shatter you. You swing, you swing, you swing. Oh, boom, I round and shatter. Like, those are things you can do. Yeah. You can't hesitate. You just have to accept it's totally fine that if your shatter gets blocked. Just make the next one bigger. The next one better.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Let's get you back out.
Okay. You can't hold this. Your team isn't here. Okay. Okay. Your team was more here than I thought. Fine. I knew that was coming. That's not that good a move. Because even if you hit this pin, and you end up totally in your opponent's sight line. And yeah, your team might take down your pin, and your team might take down their Reinhardt easily, but I don't give you great odds of surviving. Oh, you Rhine dancing? You Rhine dancing now? This is a Valk. Where's your team? Where's your team? Do you know if you can advance or not? You don't have the health to advance. So the answer is probably no. But what are you gonna do? You're gonna swing with less than 200 health.
60 seconds remaining.
Cool. Shield. You just need to recognize the Mei and throw up the shield to interrupt the freeze, but that was tough.
Its destination.
Some assistance.
You didn't do a lot of Rhine dancing, but you did a little Rhine dancing there. Your shatter. Yeah. Okay. So the biggest issue with your defense is that your hold spots are wrong. This isn't as good a hold spot as this, or this. And this isn't a particularly good hold spot. Yes, you had a Sims. Sims and Meis tend to encourage Rhines to hold here. This is not a good hold spot until you know that there's nothing scary. There's nothing from here. There's nothing from here to decimate your team. And usually there will be. So don't hold here. Don't preemptively hold here. If you want to go out here for a fire strike because you can throw your shield up even if you get headshot, so be it. Or you can just forgo the fire strike. That's the single biggest thing. So like you're doing some corner holding, you're not doing enough corner holding, but when you are corner holding, you're holding the wrong corners. There's better corners on this map, and you simply need to know what they are to use them better. Let's keep going. Because we've got a lot of match to cover still.
Get in there, Bob.
Score.
Yeah, the map has been pretty on point.
Switching sides.
with the lamps.
Initiating match.
Just as
Ready
will
for
be
battle.
done.
If everyone performs their function, victory is assured.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds. Such a medieval view towards honor.
There is no obligation.
Okay, now we're on the Sigma. Since we're now on the Sigma, I'll talk a little bit more about Rhine. The defensive spots are your biggest thing. Understanding corners in general is still a room you have place to upgrade, for sure. Please get rid of these pins. You are too pin happy. Pin is mostly used as a, hey, I can do short range pins wall into wall in a protected space. I can counterpin him in a bad spot. You had too many bad pins. You had 2 across here alone, and you need to think about, where do my pins put me? Pins by themselves aren't bad, but you have to be thinking about, where's this pin going to put me? I'm perfectly happy. It's easier to do defensive pins to counter pin, because that's more often going to leave you in situations where, oh, I counterpinned. I was already in good positioning where my team could see me. If I counterpin, my team can still see me, and now they can see you, and your team probably can't see me. So, like, counterpins do tend to be better than pins. There are places that you can get pins, but you are too pin happy in general right now. So get your corner control. Learn the map better in terms of which corners are good, which I've just told you, and get rid of these pins that aren't counter pins, that aren't, hey, I'm pinning to remove a trance from a grab, hey, I'm doing a very short range pin into a wall, etc. Let's move on to your Sigma.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
I don't love that shift.
Activating the barrier.
Okay. Teleporter it is? No. Why is your shield up? No one's looking at you. You've just committed yourself to this shield location. And you're already walking through your shield because it's not good enough. You committed yourself to this shield location for no reason. I don't want you here. I don't want you here at all. Right idea. Why is there a step forward here? You didn't hit a Mei wall behind you or anything. Why is there a step forward? Is it because you sensed the Mei stream behind you? Did you use the force? Is that what's happening? You went, no, there was a disturbance behind me. This Mei beam that I hear is directly behind me. If I take one step forward, I'll be fine. Is that what happened? Did you actually take damage from it? You didn't get a meaning. You got hit markers from the right. You didn't get hit markers behind you. Huh. Okay. This is what you want. Your team's not quite ready for it yet. Okay. This probably would have been a further forward deploy so that you can keep rotating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Pull it back. Great. Beautiful. You just keep working the angles like this, you and Winston will eventually break them.
Barrier in place.
Respect the sim. Don't really like that rock. Don't really like that rock. You having that rock was doing a fair bit to keep Ryan uncomfortable.
The universe is magnificent.
Okay.
Who's with me? I'm on fire.
Owie. Okay.
Back to me.
Objective A captured.
Keep him honest. Just keep him honest. That's all you need to do.
Teleporter online.
Pull it back. Yep. Okay, he lost. So you got to be aware.
Activating the barrier.
Fair. You wanted the barrier up because you didn't want your Winston to get frozen. Like, this shatter never should have landed because you already should have been going, yeah, I don't like this. I'm just going to interrupt this maze freeze beam. Like, that's what should have been going on here. And then you'd have caught a shatter to boot. Like, great.
That music. It's playing again.
Did you get take that gun? No. Please tell me you're not actually going to do this. If I see a mercy boosted Hanzo up here and I'm Sigma, oh, right. That's my job to deal with. I'm on it. I will go slowly float my way up over there to go challenge for control of this. Am I going to then be able to use this to win? Probably not. Maybe. Maybe me being here is going to help relieve pressure to get my team in. That would be cool. But I'm definitely going to go circle up here. And if these guys surrender and go back here, well, I guess this didn't do me anything good other than getting Hanzo out of it, and now I'll drop. But this was a thing that you go deal with. And not by throwing your rock at it.
I need to recharge.
Pull back the shield. Whew. Yanni temporal. Okay. I'd probably already be slipping up through library. Yeah. Not amazing. Generally, your rocks are going to be better when you're throwing them at teams that are trying to advance on you as opposed to teams that are trying to retreat. If you're trying to hit someone who's retreating, they better have already spent their cooldowns. They better basically be in finisher range. Like, the rock should be kind of a finisher. And if you're treating it as a principle of my rock is a finisher, that's going to be they've already used their cooldowns. Or your rock is an answer to specific cooldowns. But if you use your rock on teams that are backing up when they have resources, you're generally not going to get much. You're just going to be down a rock. You going to take your angle? No, you're going to push cut. Pull your shield back, maybe? Maybe? Like, you got the reminder. You got to see the thing. Not enough people signed up to event planning. Not enough people signed up to event planning yet. Not enough people signed up for event planning yet. Yeah. So you didn't really want to be here in the first place is sort of where we get to, where I wanted you to recognize your shield and pull that back, but this isn't how you push stuff, and you know this isn't how you push stuff. Like, I'm looking at this and going, yeah, I don't really like this. I don't really like this at all. I especially don't like this when I don't have a shield. At least they donated grab and yeah, at least they donated grab and shatter for this. And Bell! Cool.
That music. It's playing again.
What? Excuse me?
That music. It's playing again.
I know only part of his Fire Strike is real and actually physical and actually cancels stuff, but so, like, if you know how Fire Strike works, it's sort of like a... You've probably slid Fire Strikes across walls or through chokes where this much of the Fire Strike is cut off and been just fine, and your Fire Strike still goes. You've also probably used the top or the bottom of your Fire Strike. It's actually a relatively small, I can't draw it perfectly, but it's a relatively small bead in sort of the center of the thing that is like the real physical mass of the Fire Strike for it terminating on an object. I'm just not buying that bead was sent under the car. That clearly went through the car. And I wonder if that's a replay bug or if that happened in the game. Huh. And you guys can see that even here, where the fire strike, even if we ignore the car.
This is my will.
Even if you ignore the car, the fire strike's almost half gone before it actually counts as having hit the ground. It's sort of that center little bead that has to hit something for it to terminate, like it does there. I remembered that as well and thought it was crazy. Okay, so that happened again. Yeah, that interaction shouldn't happen. Like, unless there's some hole here, unless like the window's cracked or something, doesn't look cracked, you shouldn't be able to do that. You can get that bead through pretty small places, but the center wasn't, like, the center of the fire strike wasn't under the car. It wasn't. By the back of the car, it might have been just barely under the car, but by the front of the car, it wasn't under the car. So that's weird. But, you know, Reinhardt having broken abilities. Reinhardt and having broken abilities name a more memorable combo.
Activate.
An interesting question. How to make the payload move once again?
Okay. So what's the plan? Are you just hoping that Winston will break this choke for you? You know better than that. This Winston has clearly shown he's not going to break the choke for you. He just dropped his bubble in barrier. Well, he just dropped his bubble in choke. So, like, it takes forever, but we could be up here. We could. We could. It would help break this significantly. You're trying to get yourself an angle. Here as opposed to in here. Interesting choice. Okay.
Barrier won't hold together.
Goodbye, team. Bet that felt good. Surprised. Surprised you went for the Ana rather than the Rhine there. You resisted the temptation to shift. I approve.
This is my will. The payload moves towards our desired outcome.
An unexpected but not unwelcome development.
Okay. Why? Okay, play hard right. Play hard right. Are you going to go shift for your Kree? Are you going to move left and shift? No, your monkey's doing it.
Barrier in place.
Angle right, angle right. Why are you still here? Why are you still here? Why are you still here?
Excellent.
I don't care about this Zarya. Like, yes, if you can get the Zarya, that's great. But get yourself here so that you can pressure the Zarya if you want, but so that you can make it hard for these guys to advance. I'm not asking you to go off and bite off more enemies to chew on. I'm asking you to get here where you can keep the enemies from advancing so you can keep this 4v1, 5v1 in your backline that your team is definitely going to win. I'm asking you to keep that, to enforce that by getting here. You definitely had a gap of time to do that, and it was the play. Here you are. Cool. You've won. Their Blizzard got wasted. You're great. Just move to the right. Move to the right. No, why are you in the middle of the lane? Why?
Payload progresses.
Go here.
Excellent.
Go here.
Excellent.
You can pressure their Rhine on the way and slow down his advance, and their backline can't see you. Or you can peek here to threaten their backline. Like, this is the play. Cool. Yeah, doesn't help with that. You did well to resist doing that for the Rhine swings earlier. You didn't do quite as well to resist the Mei shots, but there was an I understand why you would have been afraid of like Ana shots from behind her, and hey, at least it helps with those. Ignore Rhine, get squishies. Could work, but even just slowing down the Rhine's advance with pressure or making him think about you could have been worth it because your team was going to win the 4v1, 5v1 against the Zarya. Like, that's fine.
Has reached the checkpoint. My will.
Hi, Hanzo. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? Here. If you find yourself pulled ever so slightly for your range, so be it. But not here. here.
This will improve your position.
Oh, earlier for the flux. Yeah, your flux was great. Flux was great. You got good stuff off that. Okay, but what's your plan here? I don't want you taking this poke fight. I hope that's not the plan. Not amazing.
Activating the barrier.
You were more likely, like, yes, if the Rhine advanced, him advancing into a rock would have been cool, but this was more likely because there was, like, probably a 60-40 chance on the Rhine direction-wise. Really, it was like a 30, 20, 50, something like that. 50 for doing nothing from the Rhine, but you had the 20% of the Rhine going this way, plus you had the likelihood of the Zarya coming over here, the Mercy, the Anna, etc. You had more people that could come here, so a rock down here made more sense than the rock over here. But you're sort of just trying to, like, fight this, force this middle. And maybe you think that's okay because you have a Winston, but you see how much your Winston also thinks it's his job to force middle and do things like drop bubbles here. So if he's going to play like he's a anchor tank, that's even more reason that you need to go do your angle stuff. And even if he was doing his divey stuff, his dive above, come down, which he is doing some stuff, his dive above, come down, you could still be doing the more angle stuff and your team will just figure it out. And angles are still really good. Still really good. Okay. You don't have to surrender this. You have space. I don't necessarily mean that I want you to push this, though. Though if your Winston still had leapt, you guys probably could have just two-man and gotten like 4 limbs there. Flux combo. No. No. Okay. I don't care about this dragon. I don't care that you're down 1 because you're still hard to push. There's still 5 of you, and it's hard for them to push through this. If you go for a flux like right now, yes, I have max map hacks and you don't. This could have some value. If you go for this flux, your Winston might be able to join it, and if he does, you'll pick up like 4. I could have lived with this flux.
Back to me.
As soon as your Winston uses his jump, it's over. There's no longer a flux to be had. There is no longer a flux to be had. No longer a flux to be had. Even if he hadn't been eliminated, there's no longer a flux to be had because I don't expect your team to be in a position to follow up on the good backline flux. Your Winston was the one who might be able to follow up on a good backline flux. I do like angles. Angles are pretty good, man. And I know you know that, but I gotta keep reminding you because you were thinking, yeah, I've got some angles. I've got some good angles. Yeah, angles are cool. But, you know, you can do more. You can. By the way, good job finishing up here with your flux. Cool. I know you think people should be shooting at you, but you've now deployed your barrier with 483 health. And your barrier still has 483 health. That means people weren't looking at you. People weren't shooting at you. Maybe you think they should have been looking at you and shooting at you, but they weren't. You don't shield just because you think people should be damaging you, and this is the same as Zarya. You shield because people actually are. I know you ducked back because you took some damage, and then you came back, and then you shot, and then you're like, and now I don't want to have to duck back again because I'm still missing health, so I'll deploy my shield. But no one was actually shooting at you. You do have to look at them and see, are they actually aiming at me? Are their character models actually aiming at me? Do I see that with my eyeballs? If you don't, no shield. Because the shield has a cost now. Deploying it here, there is an opportunity cost if you won't be able to deploy it to block something else. Good try.
Enemy returns.
Unstable.
Right idea. She's stuck. She's stuck. Oh, it's so close. Almost. You can close this. You can close this out. You have plenty of health. You can go back here and start doing work. No! Why would we drop? I'm going to assume that was an accident. Cool. Okay. Pull back your shield. It's done. Why? Why is your shield still up? Why is your shield still up? Zarya.
60 seconds
Why?
remaining.
Shoot at your Zarya. Or shoot at their Zarya. Okay. And if you were insistent on, no, I'm not going to shoot, well then fly yourself over here. Like, okay. Okay!
Barrier in place.
Extra time rounds. You're definitely forgetting about your shield a little too much, and I'm surprised. Like, you're forgetting about your shield a little too much. You're deploying your shield when people aren't actually looking at you, so shield management is going to need some work. You've also got more room to take angles, especially more room to flush people. No, not especially. You have more room to take angles, including, but not limited to, more room to go do things like flush that Hanzo out of the window. Like, you gotta go get those positions. You gotta. And if your monkey is playing main, you better be playing on an angle. And even if your monkey is jumping behind teams, etc., getting an angle isn't bad. So get an angle. You heard Shatter and Drop to try to help. And just, you know, shooting people in the head from above helps. Helps lots.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Okay.
Activating the barrier.
You're not going to shoot at Hanzo? Okay. Pull it back. Pull it back. Good.
30 seconds remaining.
Hold, everyone.
You were angling out pretty hard, pretty away from your cover there. You're counting a little too much on your opponent's ability not to aim. You're just getting a little too aggressive with how far you step into cover. Good cover. Fine rock. Great. Immediate flux. Huh. You tried. You didn't have great options, I understand. Okay. I think the monkey threw me for playing angles like I might with other techs. Yeah, no, and I understand why that would be the case, but even though you don't have to play angles as strong if the monkey is playing standard, it's still not really going to hurt you to play angles when they're available. You're less behind on value by playing main than you normally would be if the monkey is playing standard for a monkey.
Attackers
But
incoming.
the angles are still good, and the angles are still better in the strong angle places.
That day, I felt alive.
But I understand.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
That time you dodge it rather than shift it. Okay. Dodging it is better because there was never going to be anything else with it.
Activating the barrier.
Good shot. Okay. Are you going to just try and grind this out? Yeah, you are. Okay, Lighthouse. Lighthouse is good. No, you don't want to be here. And by Lighthouse, I mean phone booth. Phone booth is good. Phone booth is great. No one has control up here. It was Anna who was up here to start the match. So just keep going, hey, I have phone booth as my new set of cover, and I'll use phone booth as my cover, and even though we lost our monkey, I'm here, my team's here, we've got some threats, we've got some angles. We've got some stuff. I don't know why your barrier is still up over here. Like, maybe that's helping your team, but who cares about them? They can use natural cover. Speaking of which, you can use some natural cover and keep applying your pressure from here. From here.
Back to me!
No. You can't push in for this anti-elimination. You're not winning this fight hard enough to do that. Not when the Rhino's still up. Like, you're pushing into a Rhine May to try to get the anti-elimination. No.
Pardon.
Like, yes, I see that you won, and congrats.
Victory.
Okay.
Ready for battle.
So, for your Sigma, we just talked about this. The overtime rounds didn't really change anything. I want you to still continue to go more for the angles. Even when you have the Winston, I want you to go for these angles when they're available. I want you to go for these angles, get covers behind the things like the Lighthouse, apply from the angles. That's when you're getting the most work done. And I'm sure you recognize that. I'm sure you recognize that things are going best when you're on these angles. And things are going poorly when they have angles like that, and you need to go flush those out because you're pretty good at that. Like, that is still going to help you. We talked a little bit about your rock. I would like your rock to be used more on advancing and less on retreating. If it's on retreating, they really better be in worse shape. What else did we talk about here? Flux was mostly fine except for the one. I don't care about that final flux on defense. That just didn't matter. Shoot, there was something else I talked about with your Sigma that was relatively important. Talked about your angles, talked a little bit about your rock. That's not as important. Talk about your cover, but it wasn't that. It was your shield. It was your shield usage. You're forgetting about your shield. You just, like, that's the single biggest thing that your Sigma needs to work on right now. You need to be going, hey, I have this shield thing. I can't just forget about this. That can't happen because every time I deploy the shield, there's a cost. If I pull it back, I have to wait before I can deploy it again. So I can't just forget about it because then I'm delaying when I go through that wait. And I also don't want to deploy my shield unless I'm actually going to block something, unless people are actually looking at me and going to be going bang, bang, shooty, shooty at me. Like, unless they're actually doing that, I don't want to deploy my shield. I don't want to. I might be at 200 health, 220 health. But if they're not shooting at me, if they're not even looking at me, I'm not going to deploy my shield, even if I think they should be. And this matters, because even though your shield doesn't have a ton of health, it still matters. Okay, that's going to be your biggest thing. Your next biggest thing is I'm going to continue to drive home this angle thing, this going for the angles thing. And then from there, it would be, hey, let's tweak the rocks a little bit. For your Reinhardt, it's the better hold spots. It's the holding the corners, understanding which corners are better, not so much this one, more this one. Understand, hey, what are my hold positions? Understand, hey, my pins are mostly going to be counter pins, some short range pins like you did into the subway station down there can be okay. You know, some of those are okay, but we don't want these pins that put us places where our team can't see us, but the opposing team can't. Those are going to get you in a lot of trouble, and that's usually what's going to happen when you pin aggressively. So clean up the pins. Make sure you've got your better corner holds for Reinhardt, and I just gave you your stuff for Sigma. If you have questions on any of those, go ahead and let me know in chat. If people are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. As Frito, I like monkey. Okay. Use eyeballs. Got it. There you go. I had the shutter and drop to try and help. Monkey threw you off. What do you think is the best double off tank comp? Probably Hog Sigma. That's a pretty good one. Yeah. Probably. Yeah, that's probably the best one. Maybe Sorry Hog? No, probably Hog Sigma. Tough call. Tough call. Some combination of those three. Bang, bang, shooty, shooty. Got it. I'm good. Thanks as always, Temporal. No problem. I think that's going to do it, guys. Thanks. Temporal out.